Hello everyone, this is the Bevry Catchup session number 19. It's been quite the break since the last one. I think the last one may have been 2 weeks ago. So what happened was first we're here with Edwin and we're here with Michael, so Michael missed. So the reason for the big break was I actually got quite sick a week ago. I had like a gastro something pretty much all my intestines and my stomach got inflamed and it wasn't that nice. So I was quite sick for like 4 days, and then I had Camp JS. So Camp JS went tremendously well. I presented on on the WebRTC and web components, so Interconnect there with Damon Ullman. And he covered WebRTC with RTCAO, and I covered web components with Interconnect. That talk is now on YouTube. I will be uploading a new video for that, as the old one I found had like an annoying opacity on the video, so I've removed that opacity and I will be uploading a new link today. I also presented Cheney at Camp JS, and that was very well received. So many people are quite excited about that. I do need to update Cheney and just get the version 1 release out, but once that's out, all good. So that's my stand-up. How about Edwin? Do you have your microphone enabled, Edwin?
Yep. Hi.
Sweet.
So for stand-up, I've been working on a side project as a to-do kind of application in order to learn me some JS. That's pretty much it for the stand-up.
All right, cool. And Michael?
Yeah, not much on my end either. I am too also taking a course at edX from Berkeley for engineering as a service or something like that. So unfortunately it's in Ruby, but it's pretty good though. And just doing Betaable stuff. And so how's your stomach now? Is it
Yeah, I'm all better. So since last Thursday, it's been fine. So like I ate my first, like from Sunday to like Thursday, I didn't eat anything, pretty much. And then like Thursday, I finally started eating again. So I was very much welcomed. And then Friday, I got to Camp JS. So like, my original plan was to hitchhike to Camp JS, right, to save on my ecological footprint. However, I was so sick that hitchhiking wasn't an option. So luckily, Prismatic, the company sponsoring my work at Bitnami on Keystone, they got me a flight over instead. So that was really good. Another thing I need to cover is we finally launched the new Bevry website in the Learning Center. I'll share my screen. So our new Bevry website is all up, so which is really good at bevry.me. All the redirects and everything is working. And I had to add this, so I forgot to add that. So just that if you're doing bank transfers, you can do that. And now the Learning Center is at learn.bevry.me. One thing that still must be done is the terms of service and the privacy policy has to be re-added. I discovered that very recently. So the new website gets rid of the terms of service and privacy policy. So I'm going to re-add that to the Learn website instead, I believe. But what's really nice is one of the things here is like if we click on one of these, we now actually get like a sidebar on the right, which is quite nice. So yeah, which is of all the pages in it. So that's new. And we get this little breadcrumbs type thing up there as well. So that's what's new with the website. So I'm really glad about getting that out.
Yeah,
Right.
I like it. I like the fading out of the sidebar and stuff too. It's cool.
All right. So for actions, my action would be to then get Cheney out. Cheney version 1 out. That's my action. Edwin.
Yes.
What's your action?
What is it?
Yep.
Ah, continue working on Godot.
Yep.
I'm actually learning quite a bit from it. I've realized if you don't understand callbacks, it can be quite problematic to develop in Node.js, to say the least. So once I understood that and got familiarized with it, I think I started developing much quicker. And one thing I want to mention with how I'm distributing Godot is that I prefer Mercurial over Git, but Mercurial doesn't have GitHub, it has Bitbucket, which isn't quite as good as GitHub in a ton of ways. So what I decided to do is to develop in Mercurial and push updates in Bitbucket and really push the releases to GitHub where it's easier to collaborate and stuff. Yeah, but the development would still happen at Bitbucket and any changes would happen at Bitbucket.
Yep. Cool. All right, so Mike, you've got some stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't get to my button. Okay, yeah. I kind of paused on the new.docpad.com. I just so Ben, you were I guess maybe we can just briefly touch on it. You were oh no, is it not working? Or is that the wrong
It's
address? Oh, it's
.org,
docpad.
man. .org.
It's been so long, 2 weeks. All right, .org. And so you mentioned last time we spoke about it just briefly that the logos, like I have the Chrome logo and all those things, but those are actually linking to specific plugins. If you click on them. So
Yep.
yeah, basically, I just need feedback to get this, where it's ready to
Yeah.
be
So
used.
yeah, so there was briefly like an internal chat around the new DocPad website that I'll cover now. So like the reason why the Bevry website and the Learning Center have been out, or why they've taken so much preference is that the old Bevry website just did not reflect who Bevry was for like maybe the last 2 years, I guess. So we really want to get that new Bevry website out. And to get the new Bevry website out, that also means we need to get the new Learning Center out, right? Because, you can't have the new, like the new Bevry website doesn't contain a Learning Center. It has to be somewhere else. But for the DocPad website, the improvements there aren't like radical necessary improvements. They're just things that we're working on, or specifically Michael's working on and experimenting with. So the community does need the feedback there because it's not something that we're required to do. It's just something that I guess we'd like to do, and experiment with improvements to the existing homepage as well.
Cool. I had my mic unmuted the whole time. Yeah, so I guess I'll make a thread in the meta for the Bevry org, and then we can start discussing it there, and then maybe we can use Usability Hub, and I'll just link people to that, and we can start collecting feedback. Do you mind if I use Usability Hub? It's going to be kind of like open to the public. But
No, yeah, that's fine.
it,
I don't mind.
okay.
So release. Okay, so one thing I'll mention before we move on to your next item is actually no, go on to your next item. You've got another one there.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, my microphone. And then my documents. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so we have Intercourse, and then Cheney, and things like that. Those could use little like landing pages, maybe make them nice and attractive. We've been talking about using Discourse for a while so that we can get these huge discussions about features and rewrite DocPad and those kind of things. Get those into a separate area outside of issues. and then the hackathons. So we need to reschedule the Interconnect hackathon because I think that was scheduled for last weekend, right? So that Ben got sick and we didn't communicate for a while, so that got missed. But we'll
Yeah,
reschedule
there's
that.
no
And
internet at Camp JS. I'll mention that. So that's why the Bevry hackathon, the Interconnect one, didn't happen because there was no internet for me to actually communicate with anybody.
yeah, no problem. Uh, so we'll reschedule that, and then so that that's pretty much what's on my mind.
Yep. Cool. So I looked into Discourse for free hosting, and there was one Bitnami actually allows you to set up a Discourse instance for free. So I got that up and running with some basic configuration, but I couldn't get emails working. So I think to get emails working, you actually have to like SSH into the actual instance Bitnami sets up for you, and then configure the local email server it's running. So it's a bit of like stuffing around. But I'm happy to proceed with discourse. So I think like having just like one discourse for all of Bevry, and then we can have categories for the different products or projects that we work on, or maybe just like tags or topics or whatever they're called, would be a good way forward there. Because I just want it so there's like cross-talk between the different projects, I guess. Now, on this note, I think one of the things we probably should talk about is just like accountability. So try and think of, okay, what are the things that each of us particularly does better than anybody else? And then how can we make sure that, they can work on that, and then kind of, everybody can work on the thing they do the best, and then, kind of make it sure that everybody can just kind of stay in flow for that. So I think that's something probably to have as like a meta issue, is that's probably going to be a bit involved. But like I know for like say Ed1, right? Like he's maintaining the documentation really well, and then it's just like should how should we be making those, or like how can I ensure that Ed1 has like the freedom he has to flow, get in that flow state with the documentation, improve the documentation, and take those things on board without like say myself or someone else being like a bottleneck to that. Um, so that's something probably worth engaging at some point about like accountability, because I'm thinking for Michael, for yourself, like once that discourse forum is up, like that's probably going to be when you're going to be in the flow, right? And that seems to be something you've been pushing for forever.
Yeah, I've been helping people out every now and then when they have when they submit an issue that I can help them out with on GitHub.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll definitely be able to manage the forums pretty ideally.
Right. So I'll shoot you the details of that Bitnami one, unless you want to try and figure out how to do it yourself. But the Bitnami one actually provides backups and everything for us, like just as upgrades when we need it, which is really
Yeah, that
nice.
sounds the most painless way. I'm sure I'll get in there and spend a couple hours trying to get that email working.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's all okay. There was one other thing I wanted to cover, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is. Oh, there's a new update to DocPad as well. I'll cover that. Let me just pull it up. All right. So there's a few changes. First change is our README for our changelog format is different. Now instead of this being one gigantic list, now it is actually headers. So you can now actually link to each individual release, which is nice.
Good.
So the first, there's two releases that happened since our last chat. So the first one is version 6.65. This improves. So there was actually an interesting issue when I was doing up the new learning center, which was a partial was trying to render itself. So it called itself recursively. But because of the way that rendering worked beforehand, like it would be added to a queue on itself. So the thing that would happen was say a partial would then say, okay, now render myself again, but it had to complete the first rendering job before it could start the second rendering job. And because it was trying to render itself, then that first rendering job would never complete because it was dependent on the second. So I rewrote the way rendering actually works, so that rendering documents will actually, like say partials and things like that, will actually happen just like off a clone of that actual partial. So that way you can render like a partial multiple times at once instead of it ever being in a queue. So that I improved performance by I think like 4 seconds, as well, at least on the Learning Center. Um, Before I was actually doing that, so it is good. I simplified some of the API a lot around cloning, and fixed some broken calls, which is really cool. And then we had version 6.66, so pFanery really pushed for this feature of being able to comment meta blocks. And I took his suggestion and tried to think, okay, how can we make this work for any type of comment blocks? Because the original pull request would only work for like JavaScript or CSS style comment blocks, but now it will work with any type of language comment blocks, providing there is 3 or more repeating characters in the meta block separator. So right now we have 3 or more, right? So 3 there, and we have 3 or more here, right? So that now allows us to actually code, documents with metadata headers without our JS hint or linter actually having it getting very angry at us, which is really cool. So that's it for the docpad releases.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And also fix an issue with the Sass plugin as well. So the Sass plugin will now actually tell you what went wrong when it was actually rendering something, because the Sass plugin doesn't actually write to std error. It just writes everything to std out, which it shouldn't do. It should write errors to the error output. So I made it so that it will output to whatever goes wrong and work around that limitation of the Sass executable. So that's good. So the Sass plugin now tells you what's wrong, which was a big pain point for a lot of people. So yeah, I think that's it. I think probably the next time, I think we could probably move this maybe to like once a week or something, maybe, or just maybe twice a week, just because it's getting pretty I don't know, it's pretty hectic trying to do it every single day. Well, now that I have a job.
Yeah, I think like beginning of the week and end of the week sometimes is a good way to do that.
Yep.
But I'm available anytime. But yeah, I'd say twice a week, or maybe if we're gonna have a hackathon, maybe 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Alrighty. Well, we can probably continue that offline. But yeah, I think we'll end it there unless anyone else has something to say.
Nope.
Glad
Oh,
we're
the
back.
shoutouts.
And,
We got the shoutouts to do.
oh,
All right.
Edwin, you've got a few shoutouts.
Yeah, the first one is, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. It's a window manager that I'm trying out.
Yep.
It's German though, the name. And also some Vim users that I've been checking out code and plugins for Vim from, and they're all really cool. These guys are really advanced.
Cool. So is that the Shugo, Kana, and TomTom? What are those?
They are what's GitHub usernames, and in parentheses the real name if it's available. Just they have a lot of plugins, and Shogo has some very popular ones.
Yep. Cool. All right. So I've got a shout out which is Sketch. So in my search for something to replace Fireworks, Adobe Fireworks, I found Sketch, and like I tried this maybe a year ago, and I hated it. But then version 3 came out, I think this year or very recently. Version 3 is actually quite nice for people who were used to Fireworks. So I actually did up like the let me just share my screen. Um, so that sketch, the website for it,
Yeah,
but
I have a
if we
friend that
go,
uses. I have a friend that
yeah,
uses Sketch intensively. Only
yeah,
thing
so
I don't like
it's,
about it, it's that it's Mac only.
yeah, that sucks. Um, so it's quite good because like I was able to redo like a lot of the stuff we had previously trapped um, inside Fireworks as in Sketch, right? So then there's the Bevry logo, and then I was able to like its ability to export as like SVG is amazing, as well as you can output to multiple formats at the same time, which is really cool. So there's it in SVG, there's it in PNG, um, and I did like the Cheney logo up in it, so it's really quite nifty, and the Interconnect logo up, I did up in it. Whoops as well. So it's entirely vector based. There is absolutely no bitmap editing. So you have to, if you're actually working with a photo or something like that, you actually have to go into Photoshop or some other program to work with bitmaps. But for vectors, like it's really good. So the best workflow I found for like creating logos is like there's like the Humane project, no, the Noun project, right? So you can go to the Noun project. They have like icons for everything that is Creative Commons licensed. So then you like find out, get a bunch of icons that you like, and then they'll import the SVG of them in a sketch, and then you can fiddle with the icon, tweak the things and whatnot. So like say the Interconnect logo is originally based of this icon, right? And then using Sketch's abilities and was able to change it into that. So like I changed the border, made the border thinner and did a few adjustments to it. So it's really quite nifty. So that's why we have like a little license file in here. But then again, I can always buy a right to use it without mentioning the original thing in its license, or like $1 or something like that, or $2. So maybe I should just do that when we actually final on the logo. So yeah, I quite like it. The no bitmap stuff is annoying, but it's good in terms of it allows Sketch to be the best thing you can for vectors, and then use another tool like Photoshop or whatever for bitmaps. So I quite like
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, that's cool. We're doing a lot of iPhone stuff at Betables, and I'm doing the user interface stuff. So this makes a lot of sense. I'm definitely going to bring this up uh, to the people. And yeah, it's cool because with iOS, when you're doing applications, doing like getting vectors into the actual like application is kind of tedious. So if we have something that can just kind of fireworks out, some SVG graphics or whatever it is into our iPhone applications, that's definitely the way that I would like to do it. So,
Yeah.
and then yeah, the Noun project's cool too. I like, like 2 years ago, I uploaded like 20 different icons to the nounproject.org, and I mostly use Icon Monster, but the Noun projects they have like tons and tons of icons. It's awesome.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, thanks for sharing the sketch.
Yeah, I've
There's,
just included like a Medium post to like someone's usage of it, and it goes into like exactly my feelings about it as well. So it's worth probably a read. Um, but yeah, I really do wish it was available on the Linux systems and things. Because like every single time I'm like, yes, I'm going to move to Linux, then it's just like, damn it, I just found an awesome Mac only app.
Don't search for them.
Yeah. Alrighty. Mike, you've got one.
yeah, so Star Citizen was a Kickstarter project in 2012, and they raised 2.5 million. But in total now they've raised 44, or might be 44,200,000, and It's interesting. They raise like $1 million a month. It's very interesting. And so it's basically like a space simulator built on the Cry engine, and it's really open and collaborative. People are like designing their own ships, and they're going to be in game and stuff, and they go through this whole process and stuff. Um, and the first main like game module is coming out tomorrow, the dogfighting module. So um, they've just like put so much passion and detail into this game. I've been following it the last week or so, and it's very cool. And I'm a space geek too, so it's very exciting for me. One of my summer projects, what I want to do is with Solex, which I haven't mentioned Solex actually much because it's kind of been on the break. But through Solex, make like a motion simulator for a cockpit. So like you have a cockpit and you get in it, and you kind of it shakes you around with your joystick and stuff. So yeah, Star Citizen is the most epic game ever. The thing is, like, for me with games, I can't play them because like they're so repetitive, right? Like, and I feel like I'm just like wasting my life. But like with but with Star Citizen, it's like, I don't know, it's like there has been no like dogfighting games out in a while too, especially space ones. So anyways, it looks cool. Check it out.
Cool.
I would
Alright.
play games if my computer could handle them.
Yeah. I used to play games, but not anymore for that reason you said, Michael. I just can't, like, for me, coding is my game now.
Yeah, exactly. Have you tried Oculus Rift?
No, I haven't.
It's gonna have Oculus support. Dude, Oculus is crazy.
Man,
I tried it
there's
without my
like a
glasses on.
yeah.
Like I still got dizzy. Like you're so immersed, it's crazy. So like you put these things on and you can like actually like look around the cockpit and stuff. It's gonna be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I saw there's like some space game coming to the Oculus Rift. Like they planning to launch like I think next year.
Yeah.
Seen that? Like it looks amazing. Let's see. I think it's like VR or S. I'm never gonna be able to
I think
find
you're
this.
talking about Eve Valkyrie probably.
Valkyrie.
That one's really polished, but it's not like an open community like Star Citizen is.
Yeah, just like it just Eve Valkyrie. I'm pretty sure that was it. Um, yeah, that's the one. Man, it looks pretty intense though.
Yeah. And dude, wait till you try Oculus. Like you get dizzy and like it takes some getting used to because yeah, it's intense.
Yeah. I don't get though with the virtual reality stuff how you actually like how do you move? I don't
So
understand that. Like you don't want to walk into your cupboard, right?
They are making stuff for that, I've seen. You can
if it's
walk
like
indefinitely.
yeah, the one that I tried, it was at Space Apps in New York City, the hackathon, and like it's you move like on the computer like a normal first-person shooter,
Yeah.
but you can move your head, and your head can like double as like your mouse movement kind of.
Okay.
So, but with these space fighters, you're gonna have like they're all built for joysticks.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a lot of controls involved. You can move your ship in six axis movement.
Yeah. Because it seems
all
like
different.
at least for the first like few years of VR, it's going to be limited to things where the actual character in the game is sitting, right? So like you're either in a tank, you're in a ship, or you're in something, right? Because like to actually move around, like I don't think it's gonna break the immersive experience when suddenly you have to like press a button to move when you're going to be inclined to actually run, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the human brain is pretty good at like playing along, you know, like when you're watching a movie or whatever, you feel the emotions. But yeah, definitely. There was a thing on Shark Tank that came out, and it's actually like a thing that you get in, and you actually like you can run in it and stuff, and like you move around. they don't have crouching though, which is like a little bit like crippling because it's like you're playing. It's pretty much for shooters, right? So you're running around shooting stuff, but then like how do you crouch? You have to be standing like the whole game. And if it's like Battlefield 4 or something, I'd imagine those games are like can be kind of long. So
Yeah. I wonder if it's gonna go the way of like, that people actually build like, say if a new game or so comes out, they actually build like a physical like war zone, like in the real world for it, and then you just go to that, you pay your $100 or whatever, go to that war zone, and then you put on the goggles, and then like it enhances your actual reality with all the awesomeness. So then you run around this real track, but you see like all the actual stuff, right? And then like, then the track evolves, like, so like, the track one day it's like nighttime through like the VR and things like that, but like all the craters and everything stay the same, like the boxes and whatnot.
yeah, that'd be awesome. There was a Kickstarter project for something like that. It was a little bit more like, I guess you can say kids friendly, where you,
Yeah.
you put on these like VR glasses and you can go around like anywhere and you basically like make video games like in the real world environment. So you could like make Mario or whatever. You can drag tanks like out into the world and other people can interact with them. So the whole world becomes like this war zone. So like if it gets adoption, like you'll see people wearing these glasses like pretending like they're like in a war field, like just in the park or whatever it is. I think
Yeah.
I think it's kind of
Well,
cool. As long as people don't get hurt.
yeah, as long as they don't get run over by a car. So, but yeah, I think yeah, it's gonna be interesting how that all plays out. All right, guys, let's end it there on that awesome note. All right, see you guys next time, whenever that'll be. All right, thanks so much.
Peace.
Bye.